Alright, how do we go about drawing a Christmas tree? Well, I'm going to start with the pencil tool, and I'm just going to start drawing a rough shape of a Christmas tree. So if I come across here, make that bough or branch or whatever you want to call it. Continue down here. I think that's enough boughs. I'm going to hold the shift key to come straight across here. Another one. This is going to be for the trunk of the tree. Now, when I finish drawing all I want to draw, I just move over to the side, hit the right mouse button, and it stops drawing. So now I can go in here, click on this, and I'm going to use the node tool right here. And you can see the different options that we have here. I'm going to use the M key to insert a node at the midpoint between different nodes, and the S to smooth things out. So if I want one between this one and this node, I can go anywhere along that line, hit the M key, and it will put it right in the center. Now I'll hit the S key while I'm hovering over that, and that allows it to smooth out. So I can bend this in to make it look a little bit like that bough is bowing. Do the same thing in all of these. See that there's a little weight on that. M key again, the S, and I'll continue with these. Alright, I've got them all in there now how I want them. I can select this, and this is obviously one half of the tree. So now I'm going to click Control plus D to duplicate that. Move it across here. And then I'm going to use this horizontal mirror button. Bring it back into position here, a little closer. Zoom in to see where they are. And I'll move it over very close. Now I will select these two, go back to the node button to edit them, and I will move one over on top of the other. As soon as I see that bullseye appear, I know that they are now joined. If I grab them and move them, you can see that they are in fact joined. Now I'll zoom in on the bottom and do the same thing to join these two. There's the bullseye. Now it's joined. I should be able to move the whole thing, and I can. And there I have the rough shape of the Christmas tree. I don't particularly like how this is kind of straight in there, so I'm going to zoom in on that point, go back to the node tool, hit the S, and I'll bring this up a little more. Go over to this one, hit the S key, and bring it up a little bit. And I think those look a little better. All right, now I'm going to select that, and I'm going to offset it. Now I'm going to offset this one outward. And click OK. Now I've got two pieces here. So this one is a little larger. That's going to be the back panel. This one, of course, is going to be on the inside. And this one I'm going to offset inward. Now that gives me two pieces here. I'm going to select both of them and use the group tool to group those. So now if I move them over, you will see that they will fit nicely inside on top of the back panel. If I want to line them up properly, I can select that one, select this one, and then use the bullet tool here to center them perfectly. All right, let's move this top one over to the side, out of the way for a moment. And the next thing I want to make is a star. I want a star to fit on top of the tree. To do that, I'm going to use the polygon tool. I'll hold the shift button down while I do this so I get a perfect polygon. That should be large enough. Now to make a star, I want to click here in the shape properties, and I can either select this and type the number 5, or I can simply use this to bring it down to 5. Now if you don't have a shape properties open, you just click with the right mouse button on any of these and you can see the different choices you have. If you do not have the shape properties checked, just click on it and then this will open up. So now we are ready to start making the star. To do that, first thing I'm going to do is flip it vertically using the mirror vertical tool. And there it is. So now I'll click off of that. I want to get in close. And I'm going to use the pencil tool again. I'll start here at the top. Once the bullet shows up, my mouse is not very sensitive, so this takes a little work. There we are. Now I've clicked in there, and I have to go down to this corner to do the same thing and follow that procedure with each of these different corners. All right, now I can select this star. I'll pull it out over here. And now I want to offset this at 0. So it doesn't matter if it's inward or outward. I'm just going to set that to 0. Click OK. And now I can move my star out of there. I can delete these. Bring the star over on top of the tree. I'm just using my arrow keys to bring it over. But to make this perfectly centered, what I can do is click on the top of the tree, go up here to find out where the center of it is. And the center in the X is 42.097. So I'm going to highlight that, click Control C to copy it. Now click on the star, go back up here, highlight that, Control V to paste it in there, and now they are centered perfectly. So I can select the tree, I have them both, and I can just use the weld button here. But before I do that, I want to click on the star, Control D to duplicate it, and then move that duplicate out of the way. All right, going back to these, I'll select them both, use the weld key, and now I have them in one piece. Okay, let's get the top layer and the star moved over here, very close to where they're going to need to be. I'm going to move the star first. Position it using my arrow keys. want it sitting perfectly on top of that other star. Now I'll get the top layer, zoom out a little bit so I can see, and get it centered within that tree. Okay, I'm going to ungroup these two so that I can work on the nodes in this one. Back to the node tool. I'm going to come up to this one and I'm going to hit the B key to break that. And so I now should have, as you see, two nodes. Control Z to put that back. I want to put another node right here. So I'll hit the I key and I'll get one on the other side. And now I can move these without disturbing the rest of this portion. I want to put these up in here. And I want to point something out here. There's not much distance between these points. And when your laser comes and cuts up here and then cuts over here, unless you have a laser that has a very fine focal point, you can easily cut this apart so that you have the tree separate from the star, and we don't want that. All right, I want to join these points together, so I'm going to insert another node right there. And then I can grab this one, pull it over on top of this. Come on, bullseye, show up. There we go. Now I should be able to move everything. So let's test this. Yes, I can. Okay, so now I should be able to have that selected and select this and weld those together. There we are. Now I mustn't forget that I need to group this with this again. And now I can move that out of there. All right, there is one thing that's missing here. I need to put a hole in the center of the stars so that I can hang this ornament from the tree. So I'm going to use Control Z to put things back the way they were. Right there. I'm going to zoom in here. And I'm going to use the ellipse tool to create a circle in the center here. So I'm going to start to drag this out, hold down the Shift and the Control keys. And let's see what size would work here. 3 millimeters is what it's telling me. I think that looks all right. Now let's see. I want to find out what the center is horizontally on here. 35.828. Control C to copy that. Get the circle. Control V to put that in there. And now that's centered horizontally perfectly. Now I'm going to use Control D to copy that. I'm going to use the Shift key. So I have that. And I should be able to move that off to the side. And to keep that centered, it doesn't look centered, but I guess they're the same, and that's what's important. So I'm going to group this. And I'm going to group these. And now I have the pieces that are ready to be cut. Now, I hope that shows you just how easy this is. And now we'll go down and go to the laser engraver and cut these out. And when we get there, you're going to see that these are properly centered, these circles. I will do that off camera and I'll be back. I have another step I want to do. I want to make these as gifts for family members. So I want to be able to put each family member's name across here. I'm going to start by saving this as Christmas Tree Demo Gail. Make the first one for my wife. And now I won't be messing around with that first one, the prototype I'll call it. So I want to choose to put a text in here. And I'll just type in Gail. I'll select that and move it up into position here. Now, so that it's not floating free, I want it anchored on this frame. And you'll see how it's crossing here, and the E is slightly crossing. So when I take that one, and I have these two chosen, I can click on the weld button, and now it's going to be one piece. So I will take this out to the shop now and see how this is going to turn out on the engraver. I hope you'll stick around and join me there. There are a couple of things to take note of here. First of all, the holes are cut out properly, and notice how nice and clean the cut is. I was using air assist, which helps a lot on that. Another thing to notice is just how narrow these pieces are. And when you use the offset tool, you can make this wider if you want. The problem with this is that it's going to be very difficult to take these pieces out without breaking them. This one won't be a problem. It should come right out of there. Just like that. All right, that's looking good. Although, I probably could have made that hole a little smaller. It's actually cut right there through. But I'll live with that. See how the rest of this goes. Now this is going to be the tricky part because of these very delicate pieces. Well, it falls right out of there. That's perfect. And now to try to lift this up without destroying everything. Now, to try to mount these, I've made this little plate with a 1/8 inch dowel in there. And the holes in the stars should fit over there just fine. Oh, that is so delicate. All right, this piece, top piece of the star fell off. I'm going to have to glue that back in afterwards. So, set this aside so I don't lose it. Now, I only want to do this once, but I need to fit that part of the star over there to line all of this up. But before I do that, I want to put a little bit of CA glue on this side in a few places. And I'm going to use Star Bond medium and just put it on here very gently, or at least that's my goal. I'll be honest, I should have made this a little wider. Instead of offsetting, I think it was at 1, I should have done at 2. All right, now if I can just manage to pick this up without destroying it. Hopefully this glue hasn't taken hold too quickly. All right, there we are. I'll set it down there. And I'm going to leave it for a while, let that glue cure there, and then I'll be back. I put a piece of wax paper over that, and then this piece of Movenge because it's nice and flat, and on top of that, this bottle filled with steel shot. So hopefully that will have held it down there flat. And the wax paper hopefully will come off of there with no problem. All right, that's looking good. It's not stuck to that little dowel post. And I just need to scrape this wax paper off and it's ready to go. Just one more step left to do on this piece. All right, there's a little bit of CA glue right there. I'll just pick it up with the toothpick and apply it to this top area in the star where that piece broke off. And this could be the tricky part. It's a pretty small piece. All right, I'll let that glue dry and then go on to that last step. All right, let's see here. And that appears to have glued it quite successfully. I'm happy with that. All right, now I have made this hanger. Got a hook on each end of this wire. Put this on with one. And then I'm going to use this spray lacquer. It's a Watco brand, although I don't think that makes a lot of difference. I think almost any spray lacquer would work. So I'll give this a coat or two and I'll be back to show you the results. Well, there you are. I hope you enjoyed this. And I have to tell you, Gail, also known as She Who Must Be Obeyed, likes this. So I hope you do too. I know I do. So I hope you'll come back for my next video. And between now and then, have a great day in your shop, and please be safe. If you like this, please click the like button. Let me know I'm doing something right. And if you haven't subscribed before, I hope you'll consider doing that. Also, if you'd like to share this with others, that can't do me any harm at all. So I appreciate that too. Once again, thank you for coming around today, and I hope you'll come back next time. Take care now. Bye-bye.